The Unholy Trinity Podcast. 3 Blues, 3 Opinions, 1 Everton Podcast.
Welcome to episode 313 of the Unholy Trinity Podcast, brought to you in association with Sports Social, Europe's biggest sports podcast network. Back after a mini retirement, as Gary Neville would say. Obviously, we did a little bit of a video from my balcony and roads a couple of weeks ago to cover that the fact that Burnley obviously have been successful in their claim against us, which we said at the time an appeal has gone in. So fingers crossed that goes our way. But obviously, we've turned over into a new financial year for the football club, which tends to mean things start to happen in terms of transfers, and that's been the case for Everton today, with them confirming the signing of a long-time target, really, because he was close to joining in January if things are to be believed, and that's Hayden Hackney from Middlesbrough, the Championship player this season for last season. As I say, very, very strong links in January. There's been a lot of interest there, and he has been confirmed as signing for the football club today. Fee is reportedly around £16.5 million, but there are add-ons which could take it up towards £25 million, which depend on appearances and potentially playing for England and Everton European qualification and all things like that. And listen, if we have to pay those add-ons, that means that we're being successful. So I'm all for that. But delighted to say, joining me to give us a lowdown on Hayden Hackney is from the Typical Boro podcast, political cartoonist as well. He's done some great artwork of Goodison Park, so you recognise some of his imagery on social media, I'm sure. And that's Graeme Bandeira. And Graeme, thanks very much for coming on and discussing Hayden Hackney.
Absolutely. Cheers for the nice intro, top man. So yeah, Hayden Hackney, where do we start? First and foremost, you are getting a proper footballer, a class act on and off the field, carries himself with dignity, pride, plays for the shirt. There's no fanciness with Hayden Hackney. He just gets on with the job, and he's a fantastic footballer. Obviously gutted to see him leave Boro, but there was a whiff of inevitability, really. Turned down and moved to Ipswich last season when he could have moved on, but he decided to stay in the hope that we could possibly pinch promotion, automatic promotion, or even get up by the playoffs. We all know what happened there, and once that was done and dusted, when Hull beat us at Wembley, it was just a case of getting the deal done really as quick as possible so you can embed him into your team and we can bring in replacements. Although, to be honest, it's going to be hard to replace Hayden Hackney. We're going to have to share that burden and bring in maybe 2 or 3 players, because 16.5 million is good money. Personally, I think we could have got more. However, you mentioned the add-ons, and that makes perfect sense, because there's no doubt in my mind that Hayden Hackney will go on to be a linchpin in that Everton midfield and probably get quite a lot of international caps for England. As he's played through the junior ranks, so the next formality is for him to get a full cap for his country, and I'm sure he will. And he's in a great team where that gives him opportunity to do that.
And he comes obviously to Everton, as I just said at the start, they're the Championship player of the season, which is no mean feat. You know, it's such a competitive league. Obviously, he's just turned 24. I think was it last week? So still a young player. Still a young player. But what kind of player is he, Graeme? Because obviously we'll just be having a quick chat off air then about the fact that it's just a Ghana Gay could be on his way. There's no sign of him signing this 1-year extension. So he's not really going to be a Ghana Gay replacement as such, from what I can make out.
Mike, he's a ball carrier, mate. If you put him in the central midfield, he'll take the ball. He can even drop deep to take it off the keeper, off a centre-back. Plays off the half turn, takes it on his back foot, spins, and he's gone. He's looking to play 1-2s through the middle of the park, and he's looking to arrive in the box as often as possible. He's your modern-day back-and-forth midfielder, really, what you want. Akin, I wouldn't say he's on the same level yet. Potential is there, akin to how Frank Lampard used to play for me. And I believe Lampard's been an admirer for a while as well. It was no coincidence that he got, obviously, Championship Player of the Year. We had some real ding-dong battles with Coventry, which is where Lampard's at now. I thought he might have even gone there at some point, because I think Lampard has been, like I say, a keen admirer. But he's in good hands with David Moyes, been around the block, knows how to treat midfielders. I just hope he gets a regular start. It's looking quite mouthwatering in the middle of that park when you've got Dewsbury Hall and Ghana as well, and how that triumvirate's going to work. But you've got to give license to Hackney to push forward. because that's where he's at his most dynamic. He's not a 10. He's definitely a central midfielder. As I say, he could be a little bit more combative. He may even build himself up a bit more because the demands of the Premier League are a lot tougher than they are in the Championship, I'm pretty certain. But he will get you goals if he's given license to roam forward, because he's got an absolute arrow of a right foot shot on him. And when he finds a gap, he will hit that ball. We saw Kane last night against the Congo. Fantastic strike. That's the domain that Hackney likes to play in. And he's got some absolute bangers for us this season. Possibly could have got more goals for us in his career, but for some reason, other managers have tried to play him in different positions. Sometimes he's played as a left 10. Sometimes he's played as a sweeper. And sometimes he's played as a little pivot. It doesn't quite work. He just needs license to roam in the middle of that park. And as I say, he's beautiful at just slaloming his way through midfield, left to right. And he can use either foot. But as I say, if you get him in them spaces, 20 yards out from goal on his right foot, he will be shooting, guaranteed, because he's got a fantastic strike on him.
We've been saying it's interesting because obviously with Everton, what we've lacked, I think, over many years is somebody with a bit of guile. Now Dewsbury gives us that.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jack Grealish, different kind of player, but obviously the quality that Grealish had or has, and it looks like he could be coming back for another year as well. But having somebody who's that kind of sort of front foot player, who's not shy in shooting, because sometimes some of our players get in and around the box and you don't want to shoot for some reason, which is just totally bizarre. But it's interesting because, as I say, if you mentioned there James Garner, Dewsbury Hall,
another terrific player. I mean, if you can get them playing together, I don't know whether you could play as a 3 or you'd have to have 2 out of 3. I don't know, but it would be interesting to see because they've all got different qualities and they could all help each other. Yeah,
I mean, Dewsbury Hall tends to sit as the 10. So since he's come in, he's the one just behind the striker. So it's always what's been sort of James Garner, Gay. Obviously, Merlin Rule, who came on loan last season, his deal's been made permanent because Everton didn't get relegated. So that was part of the deal. We don't go down. He comes on a permanent deal. So he's there, another young central midfielder. And like I said, I can see as if just a Garner Gay doesn't sign this new deal, which is looking the likely outcome at the moment. We've been linked to I think is it Papa Gay from the Senegalese central midfielders being linked as well.
Yeah.
I think Mandela also from Villarreal, another central midfielder, a bit more defensive, a number 6, and then that should give the likes of say Hayden Hackney, James Garner the chance to roam. You know,
because he can't do everything. He will need somebody behind him with a bit more brawn and a bit more guile, and just someone who's prepared to get wired in and take a few yellows, to free Hackney up. Because I don't think that's his game. His tackling, let's say, is good, but it would probably need to improve. But I don't see him being bought for that particular role. He's got to be given license to roam and to push on, and that's
we were saying, weren't we?
That Hackney.
That clip going around where he kicked the Millwall player in the air, and you were saying because he got quite a bit frustrated over the course of that game. But Everton fans look at that. And I mean, it went viral about sort of 3 or 4 weeks ago. Everton accounts for and things like that, and we love to see things like that. I know, obviously, in the laws of the game, you can't do it, but to see players who actually care and show passion, it's not a bad sight for me.
There's absolutely no doubt in my mind he will care and he'll show passion for Everton. Absolutely. In that particular game, they were just getting wide into him. They basically man-marked him and tried to kick him out of the game to stop us playing because he was everything that we did well. When he was on the ball, he made things happen. And, as an opposition player or an opposition manager, you're going to have to try and combat that and stop it. And they did. And he just got frustrated. And he got frustrated with decisions not going his way. And I just think at that particular moment, he'd had enough and just lashed out. I mean, it was funny. It kind of reminded me of the Beckham petulance in the World Cup that time and the little flick, and he obviously got sent off. But Hayden was very lucky boy that day. But I'm sure there'll be a lot of that in the Premier League. The opposition managers will target him. Young lad coming into a big league. Can he handle it? Absolutely, he can handle it. He's got all the credentials to go on to be a top player, 100%. I just hope that he can stay injury-free. He's cemented in that team from day one, plays all the pre-season, doesn't get injured, and gets off to a fly and gets a couple of goals under his belt in the first few games because the capabilities are there. I mean, Boro fans are obviously gutted to see him go. As I was mentioned to you earlier, there was an inevitability about him going. So we're just glad that he's gone to a top club. You know, I've got a bit of an affiliation for Everton. I've been to some parks, my favourite away ground. I've had some hairy games there, let's just say, and won there, drew there, got beat there. Everton, they're rightly called the People's Club because they're a good community club, and that's how Middlesbrough like to operate as well. So a good fan bases, and I'm sure the fans will take to him straight away because the effort is there. Some people might pick up on his confidence. Some people might overstep that and say he's arrogant. I would disagree with that. He's just a very confident player and confident in his own ability. So you've got a good one there. You really have.
And is it fair to say, I noticed he was injured at the back end of last season, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, what was the injury? But secondly, do you think that was a big factor in maybe Middlesbrough just tailing off towards the back end of the season when it obviously you got to the business end?
Yeah, it was a strain which never quite recovered, and it was just a recurring one, and it just put him out of action for the last sort of two months of the season, which, in my opinion, absolutely 100% derailed us. When you don't have Hayden Hackney in your team, you don't half notice it. We just didn't have a talisman. We were just trying to limp through games, and in the end, again, a whiff of inevitability about the whole season, the way we just sort of capitulated. We were second pretty much all season with Coventry, and went first, second, battled it out all season, missed a boatload of chances. We can get onto strikers if you want another day, but dear me, we missed so many chances, and it was often Hackney who was the main man to pop up with the winning goal when he was fit. So when he was out the team, we missed him drastically. It was quite worrying, really, how we could see the season sort of panning out. We got a second bite at it at Wembley against Hull. He came on. Personally, he should have started. If he was fit enough to come on, we should have gambled on him and started that game, and it might have just given us a bit more impetus in the game because the game itself was just flat and probably brought on too late. But got done by an Ollie McBurney winner last minute, typical Boro. Hence our podcast name as well. But we all have them moments, don't we, that go against us.
Yeah, of course, and obviously it's worked in our favour in terms of we were able to acquire a pretty long-term talented target who, as I say, was pretty close to things in January if things are to be believed. But obviously with David Moyes' history, and Hayden Hackney actually said this in his interview with the club this morning, with his history of bringing through championship players, our most famous, probably one of our most successful signs under David Moyes was Tim Cahill, obviously from Millwall.
Millwall, yeah, he's class act, wasn't he? What a player he was.
Yeah, Joey and Lescott's another good example of that. So David Moyes has been, good over the years historically of finding these championship players. Not that he was hard to find, but bringing them through, bringing them on, developing them into top class players.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain Moyes would have mentioned Cahill in the talks to Hackney and said, "Look, this is the pathway that you could potentially go on," because he went on to do great things, didn't he? And then obviously play for his country as well and become a bit of a legend there. So, yeah, that's his future if he wants it. You just got to grasp the opportunity. What's pleasing is I think he can do, because when he grasped his opportunity as a young 17-year-old making his debut for Boro, he was just great. He was like, wow, why hasn't he been playing for the last 2-3 years? He just was head and shoulders, and then he just stayed in the team, and then he became captain. Then he became a leader, almost an ambassador for the club, really, because he's a local lad from Redcar, and he's kept his humble roots. And I don't think there's any pretense about Hayden Hackney. He will come in. The fans will want him, and he'll do a job. If you want him to go and kick somebody, I'm sure he will, but that's definitely not his game. That's why it just looked so unorthodox that he did that and a bit out of character. But he does have an edge to him, but that's through sheer will and determination to win, and to win that feisty battle in midfield. So he'll have a go at players, but he's just got to just curb that temperament a little bit, but make sure you get him on the ball as often as you can, because he'll make things happen.
Yeah, it sounds really exciting, and I think it certainly captured the imagination of Evertonians. I think there's a little bit of obviously a few weeks ago, it all came out obviously that we're in discussions, and that Middlesbrough wanted £25 million and Everton are offered like £12 million or £15 million. That's football; it's a business. There's always negotiations, but Everton fans are known for getting frustrated and being quite impatient, but it was always going to be.
I detected that online as well when you're having conversations with, but not in the correct way. If you're going to go and buy a house, you don't go in with the full ballpark figure, do you?
Of course.
You try and undercut them as low as you can. You lowball them, and then eventually I knew the fee would creep up. But as I say, I think I wouldn't say we're being short-changed, because I think we will get them add-ons back over time. And probably looking at, if you total it all up, what equates to about 25 mil. That's not bad business for us, and it's good business for you, because you will get that back.
And you've got a sell-on clause as well.
We've got a sell-on clause. We've done a few of them. We've got Morgan Rogers as well, which he could go on to become, bring in some astronomical amounts of money for us. Our problem is being able to invest it in the correct way. We've bought a lot of dross over the years. I just hope we don't go down that route again. Our ethos really is the youth system, and Hayden Hackney's there's no better product. The last one probably for me will be Stewie Downing. Came to Merseyside, played for Liverpool, went to Villa, got a few England caps, had a really, really good career. So that would probably be the pathway for Hackney, and to prove what he can go on to.
Yeah, it's exciting. Everton fans, as I say, now things are moving. It's great. Probably one of our main targets of the summer. It's got to be said, as I say, link for so long. So great to get the deal done in the early part of July.
Yeah.
And he said it himself. He wants to be in for day one of pre-season. He said it was only or always going to be Everton once he found out of our interest, which put us in a great position, I think, negotiation-wise as well. The fact that he wanted our football club and not, I think he was linked to Fulham, was he, as well?
I think Palace were in for him as well, weren't they?
Yeah,
West Ham were looking at him as well. So, yeah, he's gone to the right club, dear me. I mean, what a club it is. It's a fantastic club. It's just, for me, it's always been the top 10 Premier League club. But you just need a few more Hackneys to propel you up that league and compete with the top 6. It's not as if you haven't done it before. You're just falling away a little bit and you're just sort of trying to rebuild again. I think you're in good hands with Moyes, absolutely. It's good to see him come back and galvanise the club again.
Yeah, I say it's we had a decent chance of grabbing European football the back end of last season and sort of threw it away. You saw Sunderland just win the last 2 games, including against ourselves, and grab a Europa League spot. So that was a bit of a sort of disappointment. But I feel this upcoming season now is the season when Everton do really kick on, and I think we are going to be in the mix for Europe. And I would say early days in the transfer window, but I think we should be aiming. That's our aim. We'll be trying to get European qualification through a cup competition, through the league position. But now is the time to kick on, because we've got all the ingredients there, I think, now going forward. Fabulous stadium, decent owners, putting money into the football club. It's time for us to kick on. So I've said it before, over the last sort of 12, 18 months, listen, the future's bright, and not more so than signing this kind of profile of player. Yeah. Great age, great quality, someone who can really kick on, and excited to see what he does for us, obviously, over the course of the next 4 or 5 years. I think it's a 5-year deal he signed, so it's a long-term deal for us both. But Graeme, thanks so much for coming on and speaking about.
Oh, pleasure, mate. I'm just about to say it was quite surreal seeing him in blue, because for 4 or 5 years, all you ever see him in is a red kit, and now he's in blue. You're like, what's going on here? But
you'll never wear red again.
That it's blue with Everton and not like, I don't know, Birmingham City or somebody.
Yeah, listen, the red days are over, unless obviously plays for his country and they've got obviously a red away shirt. But of course, we don't like seeing any of our players wear red shirts, that's for sure. But no, listen, we're excited to see him. Can't wait. But thanks once again. Obviously,
pleasure. It's good fun.
Check out Graeme on obviously on X. He's got a great profile on there with his artwork. As I say, there's good and stuff on there from our final season. There's some great pieces of artwork there.
Yeah, I've got a few
podcast as well.
Good pieces. So, as I say, it was my favourite ground, so why wouldn't I draw it?
Yeah, of course. Cheers, Graeme. Thanks very much, mate. And that's
no problem, mate.
That's us for today. Obviously, new Everton home shirt was out today. Make sure you check it out online. The link is obviously on our social media pages. If obviously you go to our link, it's support a podcast. We really appreciate it. Or go into the store as well down at Hill Dickinson. All stocked up and ready to go last night. I know it was from my daughter work there, and she was there till very late last night sorting all that out. So make sure you get yourselves down there. As always, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you very, very soon.
The Unholy Trinity Podcast. 3 Blues, 3 opinions, 1 Everton podcast.